Hey, what's going on everyone? Today we're going to be taking a look at the MEEBIKE Gallop electric bicycle. Now this is their step-through version. They also make a step-over version, which looks pretty cool in my opinion. And one thing that I do like better about the step-over version is that it has a little bit of a skinnier seat, so it is going to make that bike a little more easier to pedal versus this bike that has a wider seat. When this bike was first released, there was a few other people on YouTube that have already reviewed this, and they gave it kind of a bad review. And that's, I think, mainly because it has a torque sensor versus a cadence sensor. Now, typically when a bike has a torque sensor, they're usually in higher end bikes that cost a little bit more money. And you don't normally see them on bikes like this. Usually you see cadence sensors. So some people are gonna like the torque sensor and some people are gonna prefer a cadence sensor. And the difference is on a torque sensor, the more power you put into the pedals, the more performance you get out of the bike, kind of like pedaling a regular bicycle, but it still does assist you. Now that's going to be great if you want a little bit of assist but still kind of want it to feel like a regular bike, but some people aren't going to want to work that hard, and that's why they usually like a cadence sensor. Now on this bike, it does have a full throttle on the right hand side, so that if you feel like you're working too hard with those pedals, you could just hit the throttle and take off and not work hard at all. So I don't mind that torque sensor. I actually kind of prefer it sometimes, because if you want it to feel like a regular bike, then you can. However, like I said, it is a little bit more difficult to pedal on this bike because of the wider seat, so I don't know how much you're really going to be pedaling. So with that being said, guys, you always have the throttle there to override the pedals, and if you don't want to work hard, just hit that throttle. Now MEEBIKE did tell me that with some of the feedback they got, they were considering changing that torque sensor to a cadence sensor later on in the future. So keep an eye out, guys. If you end up buying one of these bikes later on, you may want to see what kind of sensor it comes with. That way you're not surprised if you're watching this video and then get something different. So just check on that. It will probably take them a while to update it if they do decide to. So just keep that in mind. But we're going to put this bike through all the tests that I normally do in all my videos to see if this bike has the performance that you need, see if it has the specs and features that you need. That's the goal of this channel, guys, to help you guys make the right decision if you're looking at purchasing a bike, to see if these bikes are right for you. And hopefully it helps you guys out in your decision. But without further ado, guys, let's get into the specs and features of this bike and see what it comes with. And then we're gonna hop on this thing and take it for a test ride to check it out. And if by the end of this video, guys, you are interested in one of these, I'll put an affiliate link down below with a coupon code where you guys can pick one of these up and hopefully save a few bucks. That is an affiliate link, so if you use it, I will receive a small commission at no extra cost to you. And I do want to disclose that MEEBIKE did send me this bike over to test and review. So let's get into it. So up here on the handlebars on the right hand side, you have your control pad here. You have a little cheap bell. In the center, you have a really nice colorful display that actually changes colors as you go up through the pedal assist levels. And this menu in this bike is very intuitive. When you hit the power button to get into the menu, it tells you everything you need to know. Very easy to understand, which is really nice. No P codes to figure out. Over here on the right hand side, we have a half grip twist throttle and a 7-speed Shimano shifter, which leads down to the 14 to 28 freewheel in the back. It's using a Shimano Altus derailleur, coming up the chain to a 46 tooth chainring in the front and a large set of Wellgo pedals. For power, this bike's using a 48 volt 20 amp hour battery inside the frame here, and a 20 amp controller. Now I did take this controller off to see how many amps it was. It was covered by a foam pad that when I peeled off, I kind of messed the numbers up on it. I did see the 2, so it's at least 20 amps, and their website says 20, so that's what we're gonna say here, 20 amp controller. And that's powering a 750 watt hub motor in the rear of the bike. Now this bike's sitting on a pair of 20 by 4 inch Kenda Crusade tires and a nice set of mag rims, and it also comes with a set of fenders in both the front and the rear of the bike. For suspension, it has a really nice shock in the front that has an adjustment for compression on the right hand side and a preload adjuster on the left, and a dual shock suspension in the back that looks similar to a small moped or a old style motorcycle. And you can adjust the tension on these rear springs by spinning this on the bottom, which is really nice. I'm gonna leave it in the softest setting because I'm about 165 pounds. The bike comes with a nice heavy duty kickstand that's adjustable and a nice little rear rack on the back. However, I do feel like this rack would have been a little bit nicer being about another 2 or 3 inches longer, because I could put my Rock Bros bag on here, but it does hang off just slightly in the back, and it's a little bit wide to strap that bag on here, so you do have to get a little bit creative how you strap it on. And you really can't use a set of panniers on here. They do clip on here, but there's really nothing for them to hit up against. It does hit slightly on the shock, but not really ideal for a bag setup on this bike. Probably be better off mounting like a crate or something on the back of this if you were to try to haul something. One thing I really like about this bike is the BMX style handlebars and the awesome headlight on the front that has like a daylight running light on the side. And it has an automatic feature where if the sensor on the display gets covered, the light will automatically come on. And then when that sensor senses light, the light will go back out. You can also turn this light on manually by holding the plus button on the control pad. For stopping power, the bike's using a set of Logan hydraulic disc brakes, coming down to a pair of 180mm rotors in both the front and the rear of the bike. Always nice to see the 180mm rotors for the extra stopping power. And like I said, guys, this bike is using a torque sensor, not a cadence sensor. Up here on the frame, you have mounts to mount a water bottle holder, which is really nice. Will stay up out of the way, and you would still have your minimum step-through height here. And for the seat height, it is 32 3/4 of an inch from the ground to the top of the seat. Now, when I weighed this bike with the battery, the bike weighed right around 96 to 97 pounds. And one last thing before we get into the rad test that's really nice that I've never seen on any other bike yet is that it has a USB-C charge port underneath the display here. Some bikes will have a USB-A port, but I've never seen a USB-C port on one of these bikes yet. So that's nice that they're closer to being future-proof there, because a lot of things nowadays take USB-C and not USB-A. And when I did test that, it put out about 0.9 amps or about 4.4 watts charging my iPhone from it, which is a little bit more power than some of the other bikes that usually only put out around 0.6 amps. And one other awesome feature about this display is it does have an app that you can pair with your phone. And when you do that, you can turn on notifications and it will show notifications on your screen as you're riding if somebody texts you or somebody calls you, so you'll never miss that call or text again. However, I did find a glitch with that, and hopefully they update their app. Whenever you have the Bluetooth on and notifications enabled, whenever you shut the bike off and then try to turn it back on, the bike immediately shuts off a few seconds later. And I found that if you turn off the notifications on your phone so that it doesn't send the notifications to the bike, then it will work. However, you would have to basically deactivate that notifications and reactivate it every time, which is a pain in the butt. And you can see some of the things in the app, like your speed and things like that, but don't know why you would when you have it clear as day on the screen here. To be honest with you guys, the app seemed pretty limited as of now, and I'm really not going to use the app probably. That's just my opinion on it. Hopefully they can update it in the future and make the app worth using. All right, everyone, here we go with the testing. Pedal assist 5, full throttle. Now this hill, I go up in all my tests first with just throttle to see if the bikes will make it up this hill. Most 500 watt bikes won't for the most part, and most 750 watt bikes will. So 8 miles per hour. So it did die down there a little bit to about 8 miles per hour, which not too bad. Right about what I would expect for a 20 amp controller. Seemed to have pretty decent power. Very smooth though, guys. This bike is pretty smooth. Now I'm just full throttle, holding it full throttle here to see how fast we can go. And it looks like right there I hit 22 miles per hour. So we're gonna test that out again down on a straight stretch. We're gonna pedal and see what we can get it up to, and then we're gonna do full throttle and see what we can get up to. So this is what's nice about a torque sensor. I'm barely putting any effort in. I'm in pedal assist 5. Well, now I'm going downhill, so I'll have to show you that down here at the bottom. But let's test out the brakes on this bike. It's just the rear brakes, working pretty good. I don't hear any squeaks or squeals. Now I did hear some squeaks and squeals at first going at slower speeds. We'll see if those come back once I slow down here on level. But as far as stopping power, going a pretty good speed. Pretty nice brakes, guys. just the back brake stopped me there, and no problem. All right, so oh, that's something I want to show you guys real quick. If you stop on the pedals, you're holding the brake, putting pressure on the pedals. When you release the brake lever, you feel it actually want to go. Before you release the brake lever, make sure you release your pressure off the pedals, and then you won't have that surge whenever you hit off the brake lever. And I think that's just to maybe help you get going, but you see how it just jerks a little bit. It doesn't do that if you let off the pressure. So I'll show you here what's nice about a torque sensor. So right now I'm in pedal assist 5, barely putting any effort into it, and it's going pretty slow. And if I want to go faster, I just push a little bit harder on those pedals and the speed picks up. So it's really nice if you're, say, on a bike trail and you're trying to stick with somebody, you're not just limited to your pedal assist level, because on a cadence sensor, you can only go as fast as what each level's set at. And if you want to go slower, you basically have to bump it down 1 PAS level, and sometimes it's hard to match other rider speeds. With this, the more work you put into it, the faster you go. And then if you don't want to put in any work, you just hit the throttle and go. So I'm not sure why people were complaining about that. Honestly, it's, for a lot of people, they're gonna like that, especially when you have a throttle that you can override it and just take off. So I kind of like that, to be honest, guys. If you don't want to do any work and you don't want to use a throttle and you just want to fake pedal and take off, then yeah, this bike's probably not going to be right for you. But as you can see here, I do have to put in more work to get up this slight incline. But if I feel like I'm putting in too much work and don't want to work anymore, I just hit the throttle. I can even quit pedaling and it just takes me away. But I don't know why people were complaining about that, guys. Sometimes torque sensors are pretty nice, and like I said, they're normally included on higher end, more expensive bikes. So I'll see you guys when I get down here to the straight stretch, and we're going to test the speed of this bike out. There's almost really no point in me testing each PAS level. It does have 5 different levels of assist, and that is not changeable. You can't adjust each pedal assist level, and you can't make it 3, 7, or 9. It's just 5. That's what it is. You can't change it. Would have been nice to have a little bit more adjustability there to give you, say, 7 or 9 levels if you want it. But to be honest, guys, with the torque sensor, you really don't need that many different levels, because it's a torque sensor. The more pressure you put, the faster you'll go. So just stay in 5 if you want. All right, guys, we're getting down here to the straight stretch. We are gonna do throttle only, and then we're gonna pedal and see how fast we can get it up to. So right now I'm in pedal assist 5, throttle only, 22, 23 miles per hour, 24 miles per hour. So I would say 24 miles per hour with just throttle. Now let's pedal, and you can see how fast I have to pedal to maintain pressure on these pedals. 25, 26. But guys, that's not sustainable. I got it up to 26, but that's really not sustainable pedaling, because for one, I'm pedaling too fast and I'm having to put a little bit more effort in. So I think that's where people were kind of giving it bad reviews, saying that it can't reach the, I don't know, 28 or so miles per hour, I think that it's advertised to. Yeah, you're not going to get it up to that speed, and you're not going to be able to maintain that. I would say 24 miles per hour, whew, I'm out of breath, is about the max you'll be able to get and maintain. And you could do that with throttle easily. You're not going to be able to do it with pedals though. Now, they should have probably used a different freewheel on this bike. I would like to see that upgraded in the future for sure. Most bikes come with the 14 to 28 freewheel, which is on this, but I think they could have used something like maybe a 11 to 28 or an 11 to 32. I think would have fit this bike a lot better. That way you could still give torque on those cranks to engage that sensor at higher speeds. With these, you can't really free pedal at the higher speeds because you're turning the cranks way too fast. So that's probably where they were giving it bad feedback, and I agree on that. They should have at least used a different freewheel. But if you're not trying to go past 20 miles an hour off-road, because legally in most areas it's 20 miles per hour, which is a class 2, and this bike is perfectly fine for that. Now if you want to unlock it for off-road use into a class 3 like it is now, yeah, 24 miles per hour is about the max you can get. So honestly, I think they should have just maybe tuned it a little bit better with the throttle to give you more speed with the throttle, and that wouldn't have been much of a deal. But hey, it is what it is, guys. 24 miles per hour. Now it does take a little bit to get up to that 24 miles per hour. It's not instantaneous torque, but the bike seems to have pretty good power, and it's pretty enjoyable and pretty fun to ride. Now this seat, I'm not gonna lie, guys, my butt's hurting a little bit. It's a little stiff. In my opinion, they need to upgrade that seat also in the future, maybe put a softer foam in it. But the seat is, in my opinion, a little bit uncomfortable. So memory foam would have been nice, maybe like a little memory foam topper on it. That would have been awesome. But yeah, a little bit stiff there, guys. Let's see what we can maintain coming up this hill. 16, and I am holding the throttle. So you'll see here, if I let off the throttle, I'll probably slow way down because I'm not putting a whole lot of effort in the pedals. So 15, let off the throttle, and yeah, I'm dropping power now because I'm not putting much effort in. So just hit the throttle, guys, and it goes if you don't want to put the effort in. But yeah, they should have made it go a little faster with throttle, I guess, if they were going to use this torque sensor. So the suspension on this bike feels pretty good. I mean, it's a solid bike. There's no rattles on this thing. I mean, other than the chain hopping a little bit when you hit the bumps, there's no rattles. Everything seems nice and tight on the bike. Seems real steady, real fun to drive, real nice to ride. Suspension does work fairly well. The back's a little stiff even with being adjusted to the lowest setting. Hitting some train tracks there, and this bike just really nice and well put together, guys. All right, so let's test out the suspension on this bike. So far it seems pretty good. The front suspension is actually very nice. The rear is slightly stiff. Be good if you were riding 2 riders, but you can't really ride 2 riders on this seat. You might be able to get a longer seat for it or make a longer seat. And it would have been nice, like I said earlier, if the seat had slightly softer foam. I think a softer foam would have been perfect and would have been fine with this rear suspension. But the front, guys, very, very nice. Taking those bumps very easy, very nice. So overall, guys, not bad. MEEBIKE, put a softer seat on. All right, here we go, up one of the steepest hills in my town. And right now I'm just pedaling with that torque sensor. We're gonna see how it does with just a torque sensor and how much effort I gotta put in to get up here. So right now I'm putting in minimal effort. Now, I gotta start putting in some more here. Pulling me up pretty easy though, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the throttle. And it's walking me right up this hill. And this is one of the steeper hills in my town here. One of the steepest, actually. So this bike does have some pretty good power, guys. I mean, I didn't work hard at all going up that hill. Now, I wasn't going super fast, but pulled me up, no problem at all. So really nice 750 watt motor, pretty good torque, pretty good power. Not super fast up that hill, but we'll see how fast we can get up the next hill because it's very long. All right, here we go, up one of the longest hills. We're gonna see how it does and see what kind of speed we can maintain. So right now I'm in gear 6 and maintaining about 11 to 12 miles per hour, putting in minimal effort into the pedals, but I do have it pegged at full throttle. So maintaining about 11. And like I said, you'll see here, even though I'm in pedal assist 5, if I let off the throttle, see how it slowed down, and that is because of the torque sensor. Like I said, guys, you can override that by just hitting the throttle. Probably getting irritating to you guys as many times as I'm saying that. So yeah, nice. If you want the effort, just put in more effort. You can see here I'm pushing hard and still maintaining 11, 12, 13 miles an hour. or with the throttle, but if you don't want to work hard, you don't have to, just hit the throttle. So pulling me up this pretty good, not too bad at all. And one thing that's nice about that torque sensor that I've said in some of my previous videos with bikes that have torque sensors is that it's real friendly to the user. And it makes you feel, like I said before, more like you're riding a regular bicycle, and the more effort you put in, the faster it's going to go. And it's going to be really good for new riders, because if you don't want it to take off when you hit the pedals, just pedal real easily. And if you want to go faster, push harder. So really nice for a lot of people, and that's why I'm not sure if they should keep this torque sensor or get rid of it. And like I said, the seat's a little wide, so it does get, you know, a little bit rubbing here on your inside thighs when you're pedaling with that wide seat. So I think maybe that's why some people were complaining about the torque sensor on this bike. I don't know, guys. Your decision, your call. Let me know down below what you think you would prefer, or if you've had experience with either a torque or a cadence sensor. All right, we'll see what kind of speed we can maintain here. I'm going downhill. That's why I'm able to hit 33, but we're gonna continue to throttle and pedal. Going back uphill now. 16, 15. Not bad, guys. And the speedometer is right on the money on both GPS and the bike. I mean, really, really close, within not even a whole mile an hour off. It's pretty darn close. And we're back to the hill where I started. So let's just do throttle only on this one. Now that the battery's down slightly, it says 73%. And the odometer is really accurate as well. On this trip, it says I went 8.3 miles, and on the GPS, 8.5. So pretty close on that. And it pulled me right back up that hill. No problem with throttle, guys. About 8 miles an hour. Still throttling here. And I actually rode longer on this trip than what that says. I had to reset both because at one point I forgot to unpause my trip, so I reset it. So this trip was actually longer than 8 miles, probably 10 to 12 miles on this ride so far. All right, here's the pickup speed on the bike, guys. Full throttle. 10, 15, 20, 21, 22, and we're going uphill slightly now, so that's the max I'm going to be able to get right here. But that's how fast it picks up speed. All right, I made it back home. Now, my opinion on this, honestly, guys, I like the bike. Now, I do think it needs a few improvements. One, being a softer seat. Two, would have been nice to see a slightly longer rack to accommodate a bag a little bit easier. Maybe a bar down each side here to narrow that for you to be able to strap your bag on easier. Now, do I think they should change the torque sensor? Maybe, maybe not. It depends. So most bikes limit your throttle to 20 miles an hour to stay with the legal limit, and then you have to pedal to get past 20. This bike allows you to go faster than 20 miles an hour with the throttle, up to 24. Max most bikes allow you to get is 28. So if they do limit the throttle to 20 miles per hour, then yes, I think they should change it to a cadence sensor so that you can still hit 28 miles an hour when unlocked to a class 3 bike. But if they allow you to go faster than the legal limit of 20 miles per hour with the throttle, I would like for them to just increase the speed with the throttle up to 28 and keep the torque sensor, because that's the way I would like it, to be honest with you guys. But to me, that's the best feel on this bike, and you get the best of both worlds. So those things there are the only thing really that I think may need upgraded on this bike. Other than the freewheel, it would have been nice to see a different, maybe 11 to 28 freewheel on the back to make it a little bit easier to pedal at higher speeds. But guys, this headlight on the front is awesome with the daylight running light. The backlight is a flashing brake light, which is pretty nice, and the auto light sensor for when it turns on automatically is an awesome feature. So this bike has a lot of good things going for it, guys. And I forgot to mention earlier that it comes with a 2.8 amp charger, I believe, which is odd. Usually it's 2 amp or 3 amp, sometimes 4 amp chargers, but it's 2.8 amp, which is pretty nice that it's larger than a standard 2, but it is smaller than some of the 3 amp or 4 amp chargers you get with these bigger batteries. And this battery is pretty big at 20 amp hours, so it is going to take a little while to charge that battery up. Overall, guys, though, really nice bike, really good feel, really solid. Felt really solid riding it, and that's what I think about it, guys. So in all honesty, if you don't mind just going 24 miles an hour, it's going to be a great bike for you. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, found it helpful. Leave a comment down below to help me out, and please consider subscribing. See you guys around on the next one. Thanks for watching.